Greetings, I am Lies, and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal, and I use they, them.
And let's play a game together!
Yeah, alright. And the spring's been dry ever since. Was that long?
Yep, none of us have taken a drink in 3 years.
Yep.
Oh, but now it's come back. The count is gone, and things are finally turning around. Yeah.
I assume.
I haven't had water in 3 years, but I told you the spring was drying up because, I didn't want you to sound really worried. Now I'm gonna go drink 3 years worth of water, excuse me.
I am actually secretly a camel.
All of us are secretly, we postponed our death by dehydration by promising we would pay back the required water soon.
With the Arcana, that's how it went.
With one of the Arcana that is, desertish. We just promised them that if we didn't die of dehydration, and we kept promising them more water, and so we're all going to go drink about 400 times our body weight. We'll be back in about 3 days.
Yeah, we'll be back.
It's fine.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. Well, we should probably get going. Thanks for the meal, Swallow.
Our goodbyes are rushed as we slip away relatively unnoticed. To my surprise, the beast is waiting for us outside. Outside of the village? You didn't go in any buildings as far as I know.
My dude, my homie.
Just saying outside instead of like at the perimeter or out of town or by the road sounds weird when it's just outside instead of outside the town.
Right.
Just outside, because you were inside the town. And it's fine.
It's fine. I was within the boundaries.
Brooding in silence, Asra helps me up onto its back and we gallop off into the sunset.
And the whole game is over. Ta-da! End of game.
The end.
Thank you guys for joining us.
For the Arcana.
Oh.
I'm not sure if that many legs actually produces a gallop.
I don't know either.
I think a gallop is a specific gait, and I don't know if you can mimic it properly with more than 4 legs.
That would actually be an interesting thing to try to figure out.
Because it's not a speed; it's a particular gait.
No,
Yeah.
and I know that. So so when I remember doing Western style, so I've done both Western and English in regards to riding horses, they would talk about basically the different types of running or cantering. You've got gallops,
trots.
You've got trots.
You're walking.
Yeah, your different types of walks, because you have also different ones, your high step.
Mm-hmm. And you've also got the pleasure trot. It's got the matched legs, yeah.
Which is really interesting, actually, if you can get some of them when you get a very smooth, almost no bounce. But it's something you have to train for. It's not just something you do.
As far as I understand, there's one breed of horse that will do it just the way they're born.
Fairly
Most
naturally.
likely. Yeah, fairly naturally, but that's about it.
Yeah, I'm I really honestly don't know if in this world, in this world, though in one route we were yes, we have been taught how to ride horses by Asra, but it sounds like in this one, maybe we casually know, except that...
We return to the succulent house. The beast gives a thirsty groan, swishing its tail. You mean the adobe house? The house is made out of succulents? It's the succulent house, as in that's the name of the house? Why are we describing it as a succulent house when there's mostly cacti,
I'm
which
also
are not succulents?
Okay, so just so cacti actually are succulents. They are part of the succulent family.
But do you call them just succulents?
No. But also, my problem is going, the succulent house, it is both a descriptor and a noun. So I'm going, the succulent house.
It's
tasty. How is that house succulent?
It's either...
it got some bodacious shit going on there,
It's
dang!
either succulent, or it's it's made of succulent.
It
looks adobe. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Why were we calling it the succulent house? It's okay.
Fine.
The garden house, the desert house, Astra's tiny adobe shack. It's the beautiful cottage core adobe. It's fine.
I'd be like, the little house.
Yeah, the little house. Or we go back
the little house.
home.
Especially because I think actually Kohai has been cactus, and suddenly succulent is weird. Anyway, that's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm why would you call this the succulent house of all possible things? The garden house?
Of course. You do, Kohai?
Yeah, they did feed us, but they did not give us anything to drink, despite the fact that we made water there, but also...
And also, we ate cactus, which are incredibly juicy.
We didn't drink any of the water
that we cooked.
That we made. They cooked. I assume they cooked them?
I mean, based on what they said, they're hot and steaming, so...
Asra goes to the basin, and I follow, wanting to try doing it on my own again. Yeah, I think he has the same idea. The wide bowl is dry as bone again, but does not have sand in it after a day in the heat. Asra takes a moment to think before we start.
Did we ever get water before?
We were trying and we didn't succeed.
And then
we
sort
got
of seemed
interrupted
to
by Saguaro.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, did we
made,
ever actually succeed? Even Asra actually succeed.
We kind of made a bubble experience as far as I know, so kind of.
Yeah, but that's not the same as succeeding. Making a
I don't
bubble,
even know.
I feel like, is
I was
different.
gonna say, but the thing is
we bona fidely made water out of sand.
the thing is it was full of sand. Now it's not full of anything, and it's dry. And he made the sand like into water, or pulled water through the sand, or something. And now it's not that way anymore. Anyway, Asra takes a moment to think before we start.
Are you sure that's what he's doing, or does he just sort of sit there? He seems like he's thinking.
He could be distracted. You know what? I do.
He could also zone
a lot
the
of
fuck
times
out.
when authors say he seems like this, rather than saying definitively he's doing this.
Because you're not in their head. Again, as a first-person perspective, this is really weird to be like your character definitively says like things about other people's mental states that sort of bother me. Because
some
especially
of them
like
are really specific.
Seems weird.
Like the whole, trying to decide if that was a hallucination or not.
Right? This is a little different from what we practiced before, but I couldn't stop wondering earlier. I'm always giving you words to think about. But obviously, the strongest spells are the words of your own.
I haven't been using any words. What are we talking about?
What the fuck are you talking about, Asra?
Asra?
That also sounds like you started with a thing going, I'm always giving you, like, my words to talk about, but it seems like you work better with images. Is that... I don't understand what that line just fucking meant.
He also doesn't sound like he's ever given us words to use with a spell ever, so I'm not sure if this is supposed to be an allegory of some type, or like symbolism of, I keep telling you how to do it my way, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying words instead for a reason.
I guess?
I don't know.
So, this time, try to empty your mind. The words will come.
Do you mean what's
Asra, we've never...
The
thing is we have mentioned... Okay, I think it happened in other routes. Should be like, the words come to me easily. But, like, there's never been a really direct, like, I try to remember what the words are that I remember.
Incantation. So I was just say, in this route, we've never talked about he teaches me or reminds me of or I listen to the incantation.
Right.
Which is the words. The only thing I can think of is maybe he's going... I describe to you what you should be doing, which is giving you the words in your head to picture. But that sounds very different than I keep,
I give you specific words? Because to me, specific words is kind of like bibbity-bobbity-boo. I've given you specific words that you must say in tangent with this thing.
Instead of going, I keep giving you imagery or direction.
Bibbity-bobbity-boo!
And a plain yellow pumpkin can't become a golden carriage. Impossible.
Impossible.
And four white mice will never be four white horses. Yes.
Yeah. So this time, try to empty your mind.
Conscious of his gentle gaze, I place my hands over the bowl, which is also kind of a fountain, which is also kind of a bird feeder. I let my eyes slip closed and become aware of my other senses. One by one. I never notice them when I am staring at Asra. He's really pretty. I forget about everything.
So it's really easy to forget everything, but it's really hard to forget about Asra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even when I'm not talking about him, I'm thinking about him. Mm-hmm. The scent of night air, because it is suddenly night, I guess, or it just smells like night.
Didn't it say no? It said we ride off into the sunset.
So we're assuming we arrived at night, even though they show a brightly lit, sunshiny day cabin.
Yeah, well,
Adobe house. A succulent, tasty house.
This must be where the witch lives with her succulent sweets.
I was gonna say, or being like, I don't know if this is the witch or not, but that is a succulent meat house. The witch, instead of having candy, just grills.
She has meat.
She just has like brisket and ribs and bacon.
Can you imagine though, like culturally, how bizarre that would be?
Fried chicken.
What if it was also like a thing where like at least like you were just like, okay, so depending on your religious background, you might be like, this house is actually deeply fucking offensive.
Oh yeah.
And you're just like, oh god.
Anyway, it has become nighttime because it was a long walk on the beast.
And the beastie.
And the scent of
his 6 legs.
And the scent of Astra's hair lights up some part of my heart.
Wait, Astra's hair has a specific unique smell from the rest of him?
Also,
So this part is lemon, and this part is cinnamon, and then this part is going to be chamomile, and then this part is going to be nutmeg.
okay, so I need you to know that my friend has just indicated parts and cut Asra up into bits that are scented. I say, but
and
also,
don't forget, this piece is going to be sage.
But
So
I need
these
you,
are the Astra meat cuts, and then you shave off the...
what I need you to know is that I don't think we have ever smelled Asra's hair in this entire game, even when we've had our face buried in his neck, which is full of his hair, or on the side of his face, or in the crook of his, jaw, or whatever. And we've never smelled his hair before.
We've smelled him, and now it's specifically his hair.
We are away from him far enough to be standing at the fountain. He's not right next to us. And when we close our eyes, we don't smell all of him. We don't smell the beast. We don't smell the desert. We don't smell anything else, even the dryness of the fountain. Or do you know that cooling smell of stone? When the sun has been on it recently?
Yeah.
All we smell is night air and the scent of Astra's hair specifically. I now feel like it is a plot hole to not talk about either what he washes his hair with, or what he scents his hair with, or, what basically the scent associated with his hair is, since this is such a specific thing.
So remember how I said that there's little profiles, and eventually we will look at them, okay? But the thing is this, what I was always disappointed by is that there are profiles for each of the characters, and they do actually tell you, quote, what their favorite things are, but I was always annoyed that you never learn that, basically, and fill in basically your little chart as you go through the game, because that could be a way to be more engaging with your character, more interesting with your story, because depending then on what option you would pick, you would learn or you wouldn't learn those answers.
I've actually really loved games where they do have a, you meet person, and it's that sort of question mark, you don't know who they are, and then they speak and introduce themselves, and then like a profile will pop up the first time.
Right.
But other times you just click into your profiles, and then the only things you know about them are what you can observe right now. This is a person that I have this knowledge about, or am vaguely suspicious of, or heard this thing about on the way here, and this is their name. And then as you interact with them, it will fill in bits of their profile of this favorite thing, of they love this drink, of they mentioned that their mother died, these kinds of things.
Right, and then there's probably one thing that you will never learn unless you actually romance them.
And the profile doesn't have to include all of those things or be that complex, or it doesn't have to also be something you can click on and open up. But it'd be really nice if things that they're going to tell you in a profile piece of the game were also diegetic in the story.
Well, because, part of the thing is also going, like, what the fuck does that profile even mean to me? Because you don't even have... So the thing that, okay, so sometimes my friend is actually... We've sat down and we've had interesting conversations. My friend has been like, why the fuck do so many character questionnaires ask you what... Basically, she's been seem like really strange fucking questions actually to ask. Like, why does it matter, for example, even what somebody's sexuality is? Are you saying then, or what their gender is? Are you going to ask them? Or are you going to date them? Really, what is the reason to have this here?
Well, and also another thing that I've asked is whenever I've seen people building dating games, and I've watched on Tumblr a lot of people kickstart and build various different otome games and visual novels and things, and some of them that I've watched from start to finish, even though we've never acquired the game for the channel kind of thing. And it's been really interesting to watch them talk about their game process. But one of the pieces that bugs me that seems to be standard either Tumblr culture or possibly game creation culture, I don't know, but I've only seen it through Tumblr, is that people do Q&As about the characters, and they basically spoil all kinds of plot learning and getting to know them that you could potentially learn during the story, or they tell you bunches of things that you'll never learn in the game or the story that then color your experience of the game and the story because you think certain things when you come in.
Right.
And
they're also, in some ways, they're basically useless, extraneous things, and it feels basically like that Twitter canon kind of thing that we've talked about before, where it's very much them going, see all these great ideas, and I'm like, okay, well, if they were that important to character development or whatever
why aren't they in the story?
Why aren't they in the story? Especially considering this is a part of the romance process, right?
Well, and one of the interesting things is, and I'm going to mention a specific game here because we've played it, The Remainder. And we've only played the first season, but we really thought it was a fucking beautiful game.
First act.
First act. Gorgeous, gorgeous game. And if you want to take a look at it, we have that on our channel, or you can look it up yourself on itch.io. It's just, there's hand-drawn art, and it's amazing, and the atmosphere is beautiful. The soundtrack is so good, they even sell the soundtrack separate, and I was thinking about buying it. It's fucking beautiful. But the thing is when I was watching them develop the game on Tumblr, I actually had to back away once I knew we were going to play it and stop reading about it because they started telling, the game's supposed to be a massive mystery. You're supposed to know basically nothing and learn it all as you go along. And they just started telling explicit things about who the characters are and what their personalities are and what their beliefs are and what their ideals are and things about their history or what they would do in certain situations.
And especially considering this is supposed to, like, it was supposed to be a mystery in the way that the Arcana is a mystery, it feels weird. And I'm not going to tell developers how to do their process, but it does seem to be like a bizarre choice to me as a creator of my own content to go, why the fuck would you be telling people basically the secrets of the story?
And that's the thing is, I just want to learn them through the game. And I was wondering if perhaps in their case, if they were just really familiar with Tumblr and they'd seen other people do that with their games, and so they did questionnaires like that basically to build hype and interest. But in the case of their really thoughtfully written and very effectively like tonal mystery, at least in the first act, it ruins so much of it for me. And this is just me personally going, when I wake up with no knowledge and no experience and no awareness of anything and not even knowing anything about the figure that is in front of me, it's such a more profound experience than going, oh yeah, this person's name is this and they like this and they think about this and they've known the other person this long and these things. Especially when you get to learn some of that very slowly and with a lot of interesting sort of moral questions and such.
I think actually it's one of those things that is been an interesting transition from basically choose your own adventure books to more or less visual novels. One of the things that's been lost is basically the sense of adventure, the sense of looking on your own and sort of going through the story and then being able to talk about it, not just going like, you know, here's a bunch of information that wasn't even in the story, but also explains so much of the other part of the story that it feels...
that I wish you were just writing a supplementary game to play,
right?
So I could learn it all there.
But that's the thing is, like, reading a novel for me, you usually don't have that kind of spoilers. And especially with, like, the spoiler culture on the internet right now, it feels almost like a lot of the mystery is taken away. And you're like, I went to go do this thing, and then I was looking up to go, hey, when is this going to get released? When is this thing? And then when the bunch of creators basically go, here's lore dump, you're like, don't tell me that!
And in the case of a game that's not a subtle, thoughtful, complex mystery, it doesn't matter as much.
Right.
Like if you're playing, I'm going to say Arcade Spirits, in my opinion, if you learn a bunch of stuff about the characters beforehand, it's just kind of fun flavor text because it's a much different thematic game.
It's not as much of a mystery as a game that builds itself and wants to be a mystery.
And this one's, and it's far less about learning who everyone is, so much as finding yourself.
Yes.
Anyway, and the scent of Asra's hair lights up some part of my heart. It helps that it's so quiet out here. As I start to relax, the palms hovering over the basin.
It helps that it's so quiet out here as I start to relax, comma.
Okay, thank you. The palms hovering over the basin, not the cacti. I didn't even see the palms
Your
before.
palms.
Thank you.
You're not visually seeing anything.
I was thinking palms like trees?
No. Palm fronds. Yes, I understand.
Okay,
but I'm
thank
palms.
You. My palms.
Trying to relax.
Got it.
Palms
hovering over the basin.
There you go.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I imagine the feel of water. The sound of water. Being surrounded by water.
Which,
immediately...
I started to think about Asra.
But also,
Based
immediately creates water around your entire body and just floods the cactus garden. Love it.
Yes.
The sound of water, being surrounded by water. I remember being in water with Asra in the cave.
I get really distracted there for a hot second.
And I open my eyes. A tremor runs through my body, from my fingers to my toes. It's still sunset, it's okay.
But they said night.
It smells like night, but it's sunset, it's okay. I made the water manifest. I've never done that before. But something went wrong. Though I can see clear to the bottom, the water is red, and I don't want to touch it, much less drink.
Why? Do you remember what you were thinking?
Being surrounded by water?
Surrounded? Interesting. You know, we did just get surrounded by beetles. They were wet. It's probably fresh in our mind. Definitely fresh in mine. Don't worry. Okay?
It's okay. It's hummingbird water. 1,000 hummingbirds come out of nowhere. Just
honestly, that would be so good in the desert because there's actually lots of hummingbirds that tend to be... So hummingbirds, if you don't know, they're largely migratory animals, which is why actually it's very important that you don't destroy too much of their habitat or you supplement them if you can with basically available flowers or foods, because they pretty much need to eat constantly due to their high metabolism. And also they have to go really fucking far distances to go for the breeding season and for back home.
I would say the thing is because they eat all the time and they don't do a winter shutdown hibernation, as birds don't do, they have to always be in a place where flowers are. So when there's no more flowers in the spring of your area, as it were, then the hummingbirds need to leave.
Yes.
Because they need to be wherever the flowers are.
But that should have been enough for them to be able to move on.
I believe, flowering cactuses in this area, if I'm interpreting some of this correctly. And so you could totally have hummingbirds being like, I can smell that from a mile away. And you know, the red hummingbird water that you can buy at the stores is just the sweet water. And they just all just start fighting and bitching at each other and drinking out of the fountain.
Also, though, so a fun fact about hummingbirds is that when hummingbirds go to sleep, particularly the adults, without any young at all, right, they actually, their entire body shuts down so hard, their body temperature drops like crazy. They almost go completely comatose.
They're basically in hibernation. They call it torpor, but it's a very, very short hibernation.
And what's really funny is that there are some videos you can go look for where hummingbirds snore. And it's really, really cute.
Okay, if you want a cute animal fact, look up hummingbird snoring. There's actually one of the most popular videos is a person narrating and pauses for each snore. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Anyway.
All right.
D'entrée, okay?
He passes a hand over the basin, and the red goes clear. The beast, who was apparently right at the fountain, drops its
I walked
head
over here when you weren't paying
fully
attention.
into the bowl to drink. I was here with my head up, waiting for you to do this, and then it drops my head. I didn't know that either of you were that close because you didn't describe our proximity at all. It was like the beast was there and said thirsty.
I mean, if Asra is close enough to smell his hair, he's close.
Right.
But I'm talking about, like, the critter.
Over to the basin. Did he come with me?
I guess.
I didn't notice.
You were obsessed with Asra.
I was just noticing Asra.
Wow.
I don't think obsessed with him. I have my own interests, but I like him a lot. To drink. I watched the animal drink until I noticed that Asra has headed inside without a word. I get to follow him, I think. It's cool inside, so yes, I went with him. I did not say goodbye to the beast because magical talking animals that are also people do not deserve to be treated like people, just like an animal over there.
Yeah.
You don't say hello and goodbye. You don't have just conversations with them and visit with them. You just ask them for things that you need when you need them, like a ride. And if they speak to you, you speak back to them. Rude! I'm not bitter at all. I didn't read Magical Animal Companions and get angry at teen and like juvenile protagonists for mistreating beautiful people that looked like animals. And by people, I mean the animal had human-like intelligence and could speak, you know, the English as a human did. And so it's like, this is a person. This, your tiny little dragon, your magical toad, your little mystical cat. These are all people. Your, you know, your tiger, your, you know, your hawk, whatever, they're people.
Whatever your magical animal companion was, your dragon.
And the thing is,
there were so many protags I remember reading when I was a kid of just being like,
so grumpy that they never treated their animal in the books I read as a friend. Like, they would be like, you're my friend, but they wouldn't behave like, I want to hang out with you and talk to you. I want to share secrets with you. I want to play games with you. I want to spend time with you. I want you to go places with me. It's just, you're there.
You're the vehicle for my desires, basically. And usually they had enough power, because of course they did, because they were magical, to basically convey the character to whatever escapism they wanted. And they weren't people on their own.
I mean, they weren't people that the character engaged with.
Yes.
They were basically a plot device.
Yes.
Even though when you spoke to them, they were a person. Anyway.
They were a conveyance.
So, it's fine. Kohai is following Asra's lead and does not also respect the magic animal companion. He's cool inside. Asra has taken off his coat and lit a lantern by the foot of the bed, even though sunlight is streaming magically in through the window. Despite the darkness outside. It's okay, they only drew one background.
I know, I told you not to worry, but
I didn't want the beast to worry, so I didn't say it in front of them.
Those beetles are a sign. I haven't seen one in years, not since right before. Well, there used to be a real problem in Vesuvius, and they are not of this world, but they can pass through it and cause a lot of damage when they do. We should head back to the city.
Did the cloud of beetles go toward the city? Because they flew away.
They did. They just said they flew
Also-
off into the sky.
Otherworldly. So we're saying these are extraplanar
Are they
beings?
from the sky?
Or like, maybe they come from the moon? Do I know about other worlds?
In the name of the moon, we will be you.
Beetle you.
Beetle you.
The Beetle Julian, a Sailor Moon.
Beetle Julian. Hello!
If you haven't watched the Julian route, it's really funny.
We had that
I'm just gonna
hilarious
say
fucking
it's
part.
really funny. It probably has the most humor of any of these. And there were several times when we went off really hard in the story, and it's funny. Beetle Julian is a meme now.
Beetle Julian is a meme in my heart.
Uh-huh. He sighs deeply, shoulders rising and sinking, and stands. The sight of me makes him smile. I have decided what made him smile.
Yes.
I see. It's those really specific things. And the thing is someone can look at you and smile, and you can be like, I have cheered them up. But like, is it the sight of you? Is it the presence of you?
They
Is it
look
the
at me
idea of you?
and smile. Who knows? At that point, you're not deciding for anyone because you don't know.
Also, it doesn't necessarily mean that the sight of you cheers them up. They look at you and smile because they don't want you to feel sad.
They look at you and smile, and immediately, because you realize who they are, they're probably masking.
Mm-hmm. And they're probably masking so that you won't worry.
Hmm.
You can look up masking if you don't know about it. His eyes are warm as he cups my face in his hands, brushing his thumbs along under my weary eyes.
Oh, now I'm tired.
Okay. That's an odd gesture in my mind. Like, not across your cheeks, but specifically under your eyes.
The thing is that's probably the best way to say it, because where else what would you say?
Like I said,
Across your cheeks?
or, on my cheekbones.
Yes. I mean, under your eyes still works for me because that's still under your eyes.
Okay.
Like, if you're going to be super hyper...
It's okay. I just haven't heard it described that way.
Yeah.
But under my weary eyes.
It's kind of cool, having such a short escape. I wish I could stay away longer. Oh well, they will have time.
Asra, if, I guess if we didn't help them, we would have time. If we had left the beetles in the earth, did we just do something bad?
That's a good question. Also, I'm finding this to be very funny because Asra's not really telling you what's going on at all. Mm-mm. There's very much the Beatles in this thing. Imagine you had never played any other fucking route. This would be really wild, and you'd be like, Asra, what the fuck?
Also, though,
what
again,
were the Beatles? Someone talk to me. Well, the thing is, they're from the Count, and they're this thing, but you're still not being specific. Well, they went back towards the palace. Are you sure?
Here's the thing. I was going to say, to be a mystery, you don't have to answer all those questions.
No, not even slightly.
I say, but at this point, what we're doing is we're building a relationship with Asra.
Yes.
And building a relationship with someone means communication.
Yes.
Now, it doesn't all have to look like the same thing or focus on the same stuff because, communication is very different for different people.
Uh-huh.
In this case, though, if we are more focusing on getting to know Asra than the mystery that is the story,
right,
we should be sharing more
away.
Stuff with
okay,
him.
So one of the big tropes that I have read in regards to romance, all right, that I have observed over the years of me intermittently reading it and not being a fan of the genre, right?
Okay.
But usually reading it for shits and giggles, is that there typically comes a point where they're like, okay, we've reached this, and now there's some weird shit. Here's the mystery that starts being introduced, and the other character starts going, okay, let me ask you about this thing, and the other character starts being resistant, basically going, I can't tell you, it's too dangerous. This thing. So you try to basically add that it's about our relationship, and you bring it back around, quote, to the relationship. And Astra's not even doing really that. You don't have Kohai going, so what is the thing? And him going, I can't explain it to you. If I do, it might put you in more danger. And basically you have that kind of building romantic tension. There's none of that here.
And also going, that building sort of question of, am I going to be able to break through his resistance? Am I going to get past his,
and let him and have him realize that I can handle the truth, and that I am just as powerful as he also keeps saying that I am.
And also that, he can trust me and count on me. He's allowed to confide in me, be open and emotionally vulnerable, etc. Carefully, he takes both of my hands, brings them to his lips, and presses a lingering kiss.
Oh, but you know what?
We don't have time now because we have 1 minute left in our timer.
This is super funny. I love the timing of this. We're going to have to deal with this.
We have time now. We have to go. If this is a long scene, which the price says it's not super long, because the price is usually indicative of the scene as we found by purchasing them.
Yes. But we do have to go around and we do have to...
But the next episode is going to have that in there. and it will fit with all of Nix Hydra's requirements, and we will have some cool art that we have not yet seen.
No, and we will talk about it at the end of it.
But yeah, Kohai would totally just be like, it's nighttime. We did not sleep all of yesterday or last night, but we did take like a brief nap.
Tiny nap.
And then we did more things.
Yes, and then we were very active. Yes.
And then we went and solved a whole village problem and created a whole city problem, I guess.
Except you're not explaining that to me, and I'm not asking questions about it, because here we are.
Because
anyway.
I can count on the fact that you won't tell me, and I like you very much, so I trust you. And even though you might be a little cagey and distant and unavailable in some ways, and you're not big on like the discourse and exposition, that doesn't mean I don't like you, or that you have to be those things.
Yes. So we will see you then in the next one, where we have time then.
Yay!
So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and please also feel free to share our videos. Honestly, doing any of those things does a lot for us in regards to the YouTube algorithm. Please also feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi, Patreon, and our Twitch. There are some links in the description down below. We would love to see you there. And I have been Scandal.
And also, I noticed a couple of subscribers just hop on board recently, so welcome aboard.
Yeah!
Good to have you. And I have been Liz. And it was great playing with you. Bye!